Oh, no, ouch, oh, we did it. No, why? Hi, welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. We've got so many great submissions for this month's Boost My Build. This is the series where we take your PC part picker list, we tear them up, and we put them back together to massively boost up your performance. And in this very first episode of 2, we're gonna go into the NZXT virus. What happens when brands infect your brain and make you spend way too much on your PC. And we'll take a look at a his and hers gaming build and also video editing, compare the RTX 3050 versus the RX 6600 in terms of gaming and performance. If you get value out of the video, give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel. And of course, subscribe and click that bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. With that, let's jump into it. Before that, this video is sponsored by VIP SCD Key. Say goodbye to crazy expensive Windows 10 licenses and that terrible Activate Windows 10 watermark. Right now, use the links in the video description, head over to VIP SCD Key, and get a Windows 10 Home or Pro OEM license for a great price. Pick your product license, then use the PC Builder discount code PC25 for an additional 25% off. Go to the activation settings on your PC, put in the code, and boom, you have a fully licensed Windows 10 for a crazy low price, which can be upgraded for free to Windows 11. Use the links in the video description below. All right, we've got Derek MJ. He says, hey, Jason and Mr. Bear. Hey, Mr. Bear says, hey. They really appreciate what we're doing, and they're glad they found the channel. We're glad you found it too. They and their girlfriend want to build gaming PCs. That's awesome. So they play CSGO, Valorant, GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite. I'm seeing a lot of AAA titles and a lot of first-person shooters here. They want high settings, 1080p, possibly 1440p. Their budget for their PC is $1,000. They could go to $1,300 depending on the GPU, but they're really confused on what to get. They even listed a $1,650. I really hope we didn't do that. We'll have to find out. And then for their girlfriend's PC, same kind of setup. Her budget's $900, possibly $1,000, and she also does a little bit of video editing. Okay. Let's take a look. Oh, whoa, no, ouch, oh, we did it. No, why? GTX 1650 right now. I know the prices have been crazy, that everything's been crazy. So I don't fault people for being very confused, especially if you're building your first PC and you're new to this stuff and it seems totally overwhelming. I get it. But let me give you some hard and fast rules. Don't buy any more GTX 1650s at all. None, zero, okay? $234. Look, yes, that's a much better price than it was 6 months ago when it was like $335 or $350, but this is a garbage tier graphics card. Let's just get that out of the way. The 1650 Super is a much better graphics card. It's a totally different graphics card, and I can't even tell that they're even really producing them except to sell them to system integrators who are making pre-builds. That whole 1000 tier, get rid of that. We're really looking at RTX 3000, maybe the 2060, or the RX 6600, 6600 XT. Those are the AMD GPUs instead. The rest of the build honestly looks fine, but I can see where we made some mistakes here. It looks like we went with the rest of the build. We've kind of premiumed out everything else on the rest of the build in a little bit of a way. And then we just decided to shove whatever graphics card we could fit into our budget at the end. That is the opposite of how we want to build a gaming PC. So let's take a step back and let's think about kind of the meta of this. So what you want to do is you want to spend at least half your budget, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on how much total money you have to spend on the graphics card. The first thing I would pick out is the graphics card. I would try and slam in the biggest, fastest graphics card into this PC that I could, and then try and build the rest of the build around it. And look, sometimes you're like, oh, I can't quite make it, so I'm gonna have to come down a little bit on the graphics card in order to make the rest of the build work. That's the way you build a gaming PC. Very different for video editing. We'll get to that in a second when we get to your girlfriend's PC. So for instance, I don't mind the 5600X. It's only $15 more than the 5600. It's hard to find a place for $15 to actually increase your overall build's performance, so I don't mind sticking a little bit in here. That's fine. But the Cooler Master Hyper 212, I like the cooler, I hate the price. This cooler needs to be $35, no more. There's a lot cheaper coolers we can find. Remember, we need to find some money here for your graphics card. Another thing, I don't like the Asus Prime B550 Plus. It's not a terrible motherboard. It's definitely a budget tier motherboard, but Asus continues to sell this board at way too much. This to me is a $90 motherboard, maybe $100 tops. tops, not $135. There's way better options. The other thing is, doesn't have BIOS flashback, so if you did get the 5600, you may not be able to post on this. That could be a problem. For the memory, we went with 3600 CL18 kit, functionally not really any faster than the 3200 CL16 kit. We went through that in the Q&A, and we went with a kind of an expensive one for $90, the RGB. This is another area we could be saving some money. We went with a fast, the price continues to get better on this drive, so I'm not slamming this drive as hard as I used to, but what's the benefit for gaming? Not much over a drive that's significantly cheaper. For the case, don't mind the case, perfectly fine, $75. Cases are hard right now given the shipping issues around the world and the fact that cases are big voids that need to be shipped. And the power supply, I'd like this unit. I just think we could find a cheaper unit right now for this build. Again, we're trying to save money for our overall parts. For your girlfriend's build, it's very similar, except that you just went with the i5-12400. I get that the integrated graphics on the i5-12400 will help, using Intel QuickSync, help render video files in the end. However, if we're just doing a little video editing, I don't know if it's worth the trade-off, because the problem is the B660 platform is really expensive to buy in at a decent price tier. So for instance, you went with the Gigabyte B660M, and I know in previous videos when these first launched, I said this is one that we probably want to take a look at. However, we've done testing of these boards now. We know that at least on the BIOS version that was tested on, this will not run the i5-12400 at the full frequencies, and that hurts over long duration workloads like video rendering. So we don't want this board. We're unfortunately going to have to go with a much more expensive board, about $140 to get the full frequency out of it. That would have been fine for an i3, by the way. It's just the i5s that seem to be having a problem on some of the boards. You went with a cheap kit, great. DDR4 3200 CL16. You stuck her with a cheap drive that I was going to stick you with. Now, she probably does need that drive that you had. Again, video editing, a lot of heavy writes potentially. And then we really stuck her with a GTX 1050 Ti. I don't know why. This is only like $5 cheaper than the GTX 1650, which is actually a better graphics card, but neither of them are very good. So no, we're definitely not doing this. Not for $221. Ay, ay, ay. And then you went with this similar power supply. Again, I think we could probably find a cheaper, slightly cheaper unit. $835. I think you did okay here, but the big failing is the graphics card. Let's see what I did here. I called this the Actually Gaming PC for $980. Why? Because it actually plays games for $980. Not too much more than you were going to spend. And how do we do that? Well, we started off with the graphics card. MSI Radeon RX 6600 right now on sale at Newegg, has been on sale for the better part of 2 weeks for about $325. And great gaming graphics cards, actually technically below its MSRP. That's phenomenal. Yes, it's through a rebate, but we're going to start seeing a lot of those because of how screwed up the graphics card market was. There's got to be a way for retailers not to just completely get soaked in the end and take the loss. The manufacturers are going to have to reach back, probably through rebates. We're probably going to see many, many more of those to come. Great gaming graphics card. Listen, if you're absolutely allergic to AMD graphics cards, you could look at the 3050. Less performance, some better other productivity features I think would be good for video editing. We'll get to that in a moment, for about the same price, for about $315. I just went ahead and stuck it out with the 5600X. You know, we could save another $15 by going with the 5600, but you know, that's kind of on the edge where I just consider getting the 5600X and being able to click Precision Boost Overdrive and not have to mess with anything else and get slightly more performance. I did trim down the cooling a little bit here in terms of the price, not the performance. With the id Cooling SE224XT, I just happen to really like this cooler. $30 instead of $45, much, much better. There is now a brand new version of this. It's called the SE214XT. Comes ARGB for only $20. I haven't tested it. I haven't seen tests of it. I think it's brand new by id Cooling. Another one to check out if you want the ARGB elements to it. Then the motherboard. We just got you a much better motherboard, the Gigabyte B550 Aorus Elite, for $135, $140. I mean, this is a really tough motherboard to beat. It's got much better audio on it, just a much better overall board. VRM significantly better if you ever decide to upgrade to maybe a 5800X or 5900X. And of course, then you've got a lot more rear panel connectivity as well. And it costs the same as the board that you were going to get, and it has BIOS flashback, so it will work with any CPU that you put on this without having to first update the BIOS. For the memory, we just went with the Silicon Power RGB kit. It's a DDR4 3200 CL16, 16 gigabytes of it. This is this is great memory. Well, I used this kit in a number of builds. For $70, it's also 20 bucks cheaper. And then I basically swapped out your drive for the Silicon Power A60 1TB. Yes, you were right in your girlfriend's build. This is a great budget NVMe to go with. You're not going to see the performance difference in gaming, so I would just go with this. If for whatever reason one day, direct storage actually happens and it actually helps to play a game on a Gen 4 versus a Gen 3 drive, yeah, then you can go out and buy a Gen 4 drive and they'll probably cost half as much. For the power supply, I just went with a cheaper unit. This is the Cooler Master Watt 650. This one's bronze, still fully modular, $650. Right now it's on sale for about $50. That's what I would look to spend on a good PSU that's at least C-tier rated on the PSU cultist list. Overall though, for $986, we got you a PC that will actually play games at 1080p high frame rates and 1440p. But wait, there's more. I didn't forget about your girlfriend's build. Now listen, I hemmed and hawed over this. The problem is the B660 platform to me. There's a handful of motherboards that will actually run the 12400 at the full rated frequency. The rest of them have boosting problems. They have VRM issues. It's just a mess, especially at the budget level. I decided to stick it out with the i5-12400. Just know that what we're missing here is we're missing upgraded audio on the motherboard. Now, if you don't have a very good speaker set, it won't matter. But if you do, or if you have like a really nice set of headphones, it would matter. But I couldn't quite squeeze in under the $1,000 for the Tomahawk, unless you want to get a little bit over $1,000. I did stick out with the i5-12400 for all the reasons we talked about before, the video editing aspect of it. $185 right now, really, really good price. I got you the same cooler, basically. Just know that you need the LGA 1700 mounting bracket. PC Part Picker is wrong when it tells you this is not a compatible cooler. It absolutely is, but it will completely screw everything up when you put it in because of the compatibility filter is one of the things that they need to fix in PC Part Picker, in my opinion, if you're listening out there. We went with the MSI Pro B660 M-A. This is, to me, is like the only budget motherboard you should be looking at for the i5-12400. Good-ish connectivity. The audio is very entry level board. To me, all the B660 motherboards are way overpriced at $140. But of course, you're saving a little bit on the i5-12400 and you're picking up a little bit of increase to the video editing side with that integrated graphics. So I think it's probably worth the trade-off. We just went with the same kit that we went for you, except the non-RGB one, Silicon Power DDR4 3200 CL16, $55. And I went ahead and went with a prosumer level Gen 3, actually this is technically a Gen 4 drive, the Western Digital Black SN750 SE. Now, doesn't really run at Gen 4 speeds, but it's technically Gen 4. That being said, this is going to be a great drive for her as she looks to do a lot of writes in video editing. And then I did go with the RTX 3050 on this. I hemmed and hawed, certainly could go with the 6600. To me, this card is still a little overpriced, but I do know that especially if you're doing like Adobe Premiere and other things, in productivity software that does a lot of rendering, you will get the benefit out of the 3050. I think it'll edge out that gaming difference. And the 3050, no slouch in gaming, certainly very, very good 1080p gaming card. Then finally for the power supply, I went with the Phanteks Amp 550. That's because this has a second EPS power pin, and this motherboard, for whatever reason, it's a B660, I don't know why, but it has a second 4-pin connector here. Most of the other B660 motherboards don't. You would be fine to run this motherboard without it. I know it freaks some people out. So for like another $5 or $6, I picked up a different power supply that has 2 EPS power pins, one 8-pin, and then the other 4+4 you'll be able to connect here. And overall, for $956, phenomenally more performance and much better gaming. We've got Gravity. All right, Gravity says they're a first-time PC builder. They've got a big challenge for us. They're in England. They want to do video editing, streaming, content creation. They've been wanting to do this for a while, but it's just haven't been able to get into it because of the market. Their budget is £1,050, but they want the PC to be as NZXT as possible. And they can already see that that's a problem because they're already over budget. They're not sure what to do. They want to play games like Fortnite, like Valorant, GTA 5, Cyberpunk, CSGO, etc. And they want me to make this as NZXT as possible. All right, let's see what you've got here. Yes, I can already see that we're over budget. We're £100 over our budget. And I can already see we've got a lot of problems with this build because we're forcing NZXT at the budget level. Now, I just want to state, I'm not bashing NZXT. You just have to recognize recognize that they make premium products. They charge a premium price for their products, and a lot of it has to do with a design aesthetic to it. It doesn't have to do anything with really the performance of the PC itself. So if you're putting money into aesthetics, it's money that's not going into performance. And at the budget level, that really can hurt us a lot. But let's start off with why this is a problem, because you've got NZXT everything in here. Let's start off with the case, because that's actually the biggest problem I see that's really hurting your build. You say, what? It's just a PC case, Jason. How can this be hurting your build? Well, we've got the H510, and the H510's got a Flow version, it's got like the Elite version, but they're all effectively the same chassis. This one just happens to have a cutout for mesh in the front. But the problem here is that you also only want to go with NZXT coolers. NZXT doesn't make any air coolers, so the only liquid coolers you can fit, because it's only got this 120 millimeter slot at the top here, is a 120 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler, unless you want to put it right here in the front, which you can, but I know some people don't like the aesthetic of the cooler here in the front. And then we got the tubes, and the tubes go across this white design element, etc., etc. So I can see this case is already causing us problems. I don't know why NZXT doesn't just fix the tooling on their cases so you can fit a 240 millimeter up top. Maybe it's because of this white bar here, but this case is definitely hurting us. And you're spending quite a bit for this. You're spending 82 pounds for it. That's 100 US dollars. Now I know cases are tough right now because of shipping and other issues. But the other thing is, this case only comes with 2 included all black fans. You clearly want RGB. So you've added 3 RGB fans. I'm assuming these are for the intake in the front. And they're 20 pounds each. I mean, that's really, these are expensive fans. And to me, they're really nothing special. They're just ring light fans with it's a little bit more square than circle. So that's 60 pounds we're spending there. On top of that, we're buying kind of an expensive power supply, 60 pounds, remember not dollars, pounds. It's not hugely expensive, but you are going to be the only person who knows who makes the power supply, because the case does not have a cutout on the side where you can see it. So why force NZXT here? It doesn't really make any sense to me. There's plenty of good power supplies out there. You're just delivering power. You just need it to work and not blow your PC up. So spending 60 pounds on that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because of that, like I said before, we're going with the NZXT Kraken M22 cooler. I don't like 120 millimeter all-in-one liquid coolers for micro ATX or ATX size builds. They're fine for small form factor. The reason is they only give you as much cooling as a budget tower air cooler, and they cost like 2 to 3 times as much, which is insane. Similarly, I can see we've gone with more premium RAM here. This is Corsair. Maybe Corsair is your other virus you're infected with. You got the RGB Pro. Look, these look nice. Don't get me wrong. They look great. The problem here is that we've got to make a choice. And at the budget level, it's really aesthetics versus performance. It's hard to get both at the same time. You've got to sacrifice one for the other. And that's what we're doing here with a 75-pound, almost $90 kit of just DDR4 3200, 16 gigabytes. I don't have any problem with the drive. This is a budget drive. Maybe we could find something a little cheaper, but this is typically a drive I recommend. And as a result, we've had to kind of come all the way down to the RTX 3060. I really feel like for the money we're spending right now, to only get a 3060 out of this build just really, really hurts. You put in 428 pounds in here. I think that they're actually selling for just right around that. It's about the same they're selling for in the States. And then, of course, we went with the Ryzen 5 5600. Oh, I won't get in the 12400 for this 5600. 12400 might be my pick for video editing, but because you're going Ryzen and they're so freaking close, we'll just stick with that. But overall, I think we could do a lot of work on this build. All right, here's what I decided to do. I decided to do a no NZXT build. Frankly, I looked at your build. There's really not much more I can do. You've already NZXT'd that thing out as much as you can. There's nothing wrong with that build. It will certainly work. It's just that we're losing a lot of performance because we're trading it off for aesthetics. So I decided just to kind of help you understand what the real price difference is right now between the two. We've got the Ryzen 5 5600 in here, same CPU. We went with the same storage you went. I decided not to change that up, but we changed just about everything else, and we got rid of NZXT. And as you can see, for 1,093 pounds, we probably could come down a little bit more here and there, but I decided I wanted to show you how you can get some of these more premium features. For instance, for the CPU cooler, we went with the Be Quiet Pure Rock Slim 2. It's simply the most affordable budget tower air cooler in the UK market right now. Great cooler, will perfectly do the job. I think it looks very nice as well. And of course, for the case, I went with an ultra budget case that I have used and I like quite a bit. It's the Zalman S2. I think this thing looks really nice, particularly if you get RGB fans here in the front and in the rear. It looks to me, very, very nice. It's got a nice cutout here for the power supply. You can do some really fun things if you want to vinyl wrap that, like some other creators do, which I think is really neat. I've never done myself. Or you just want to have a nice little cutout where you can see the PSU in there. Looks great. The case itself, a little on the cheap side, but listen, it does the job, and it even comes with 3 included fans if you want to use them. Now, 2 are Molex, so we're going to get rid of those 2 Molex fans and we're going to use different ones. So I went ahead and got you the ID Cooling, just a 3-pack of RGB fans. These are very nice RGB fans and they go great for 30 pounds. Instead of 20 pounds per fan, we're gonna get 3 fans for 30. It's crazy how much money we were spending on just fans. For the power supply, I went with Be Quiet System Power 9. Now, why am I going with a lot of Be Quiet stuff? It's just in the UK market, Be Quiet tends to be one of the better priced options. Not so much in the US, although sometimes, but in the UK, I've just noticed that the Be Quiet brand often comes in much cheaper than others. That's why we're going with this one. It's $50. This is a good rated unit, System Power 9, 600 watts, probably more than we need, but again, it was one of the cheaper ones available, so I grabbed it. Bronze certified, don't need a gold certified unit for that. There's really no difference between gold and bronze in terms of one single PC. And as a result of this, we were able to upgrade some things. Number one thing we upgraded, of course, is the graphics card. We went with the RTX 3060 Ti. Way more performance, very, very close to the RTX 3070, way more performance than you're going to get out of that poor 3060 card. And honestly, it's not that much more expensive than what you were going to spend. You just couldn't get there because you were already 100 pounds over budget. So we're going to reach up, we're going to grab the 3060 Ti. This is a Zotac card. And then we, of course, just traded out your memory for another RGB kit that's significantly cheaper. Crucial Ballistics RGB, 2x8 kit. This is DDR4 3200 CL16. Same thing, black with RGB, just like you had. There you go, only cheaper. The other thing we were able to upgrade is the audio on the motherboard. So we went from that terrible Gigabyte Gaming X B550, the thing is just cut rate, to an actual motherboard you should really like, which is the Gigabyte B550 Aorus Elite. This has Wi-Fi, in fact it has Wi-Fi 6. So overall, we got you a system that for less than you were going to spend, $1,093, gets you way more gaming performance with the RTX 3060 Ti, and I think still looks really nice with some great RGB. We upgraded the audio and overall just got you a heck of a lot more performance. So I hope you feel like your build is boosted. Thank you so much for joining us on this month's Boost My Build. Remember, if you got value of the video, give it a like. It makes a huge difference, especially this guy right here. And of course, subscribe and click that bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. And if you're looking for even more Boost My Build, we'll have a second episode coming soon this month. But here's the entire playlist for Boost My Build. Check it out. Jump in there. There's tons of cool builds. And we'll catch you on the next one.